Dr. Sarah Mitchell pressed her hand against the smooth metallic surface of the Martian cavern wall, her heart racing beneath her environment suit. The wall hummed with a faint energy that shouldn't have been possible in a cave system that had laid dormant for millennia. Behind her, the exploration team's lights cast dancing shadows across the crystalline formations that lined the passage. "Dr. Mitchell, you need to see this," Marcus Chen, her lead technician, called from further down the tunnel. His voice carried an edge of excitement she hadn't heard in months of excavation. Sarah made her way carefully through the narrow passage, mindful of her suit's oxygen levels. The discovery of these caves beneath Olympus Mons had been controversial enough. Now every step seemed to challenge everything they thought they knew about Mars' history. The passage opened into a vast chamber that their lights couldn't fully illuminate. Marcus stood before a curved console that seemed to grow from the chamber floor like a metallic mushroom. Its surface was covered in patterns that shifted and swirled beneath a layer of Martian dust. "It's responding to our presence," Marcus said, holding up his scanner. "These energy signatures, they're unlike anything in our database." Sarah approached the console, her trained eye noting details that seemed increasingly impossible. The craftsmanship was beyond advanced. It was elegant in a way that spoke of a civilization far beyond current human capabilities. Yet something about its design felt strangely familiar. "Have you tried interfacing with it?" she asked, already knowing the answer. Marcus was brilliant but cautious. It's why she'd chosen him for this mission. "Waiting for your authorization, Doctor. But there's something else." He gestured to the wall behind the console. "Look at the symbols." Sarah's breath caught in her throat. The patterns on the wall weren't alien at all. They were a highly stylized form of Sanskrit, one of humanity's oldest written languages. Before she could process the implications, her comm unit crackled to life. "Dr. Mitchell," the voice of mission control cut through her thoughts. "We need you back at base immediately. We have visitors." Visitors. Sarah's brow furrowed. Their next supply drop wasn't due for weeks. "From Earth?" "Not exactly," Mission Control replied, tension evident in their voice. "They came from considerably further away, and they're asking for humanity's representatives." The journey back to base was a blur of theories and possibilities. Sarah's mind raced between the implications of their discovery and the unprecedented situation awaiting them. As they approached the geodesic domes of Mars Base 1, she saw them. A sleek vessel unlike anything human engineers had designed, hovering silently above the landing pad. Inside the base's conference room, Sarah found herself face to face with beings that defied easy description. The three aliens, for there was no other word for them, possessed a fluid grace that made them seem almost ethereal. Their translator devices rendered their complex language into crisp, accented English. "Dr. Mitchell," the central figure addressed her, its iridescent membrane shifting colors as it spoke. "I am Nexus Guide Varian of the Galactic Hegemony. We have been monitoring your species development with growing concern." Sarah straightened in her chair, acutely aware of the dust still clinging to her expedition gear. "Concern? We've barely taken our first steps into our own solar system. It is not your current capabilities that worry us," another of the aliens interjected, this one's membrane displaying darker, more turbulent patterns. "It is what you might discover, what you might awaken." A chill ran down Sarah's spine as she thought of the humming walls and Sanskrit symbols. "I'm not sure I understand." "Your species is young," Varian continued, "but this is not the first time humanity has reached for the stars. There was another empire, long ago, one that spanned galaxies. They vanished, as all empires must, but they left behind safeguards, weapons," the darker-hued alien corrected, "planet killers, reality shapers, tools of such power that their mere existence threatens galactic stability. And you believe these weapons are here, in our solar system?" Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer. "We know they are. The signs are unmistakable. The energy signatures are beginning to wake." Varian's membrane rippled with what might have been concern. "That is why we have come with an offer. and a warning. The third alien, who had remained silent until now, placed a device on the table. It projected a holographic document that filled the air with glowing text. The hegemony is willing to accept Earth as a protectorate. We will guide your development, ensure you do not activate anything. Unfortunate. The alternative would be considerably less pleasant. Sarah's mind raced back to the chamber, to the console that had responded to human presence, to the ancient Sanskrit that suggested a connection she could scarcely comprehend. "You're asking us to surrender our sovereignty," she said carefully, "to give up our right to explore our own solar system. We are offering you survival," Varian corrected. "The artifacts your ancestors left behind are too dangerous for a young species to control. Accept our guidance, and you may yet earn the right to join galactic civilization." The threat beneath the diplomatic language was clear. Sarah thought of all the mysteries they'd uncovered, of humanity's dreams of reaching the stars. "I'll need to contact Earth's governments," she said. "This isn't a decision I can make." "Of course," Varian agreed. "You have one standard rotation of your planet to consider our offer. Choose wisely, Dr. Mitchell. The consequences of defiance would be regrettable." As the aliens departed, Sarah's comm unit chimed with an urgent message from Marcus. Her hands shook as she read it. "Doctor, the console activated. You need to see this. It's showing us something. Maps, schematics, coordinates, and a message repeated in every human language. The legacy awakens when the children of Earth are ready to rise." Sarah looked through the base's reinforced windows at the alien ship ascending into the Martian sky. Humanity had just been given an ultimatum: submit to alien control or face extinction. But perhaps their ancestors had left them a third option, hidden in the depths of Mars, waiting for this exact moment. She opened a channel to Earth's United Space Command. "This is Dr. Sarah Mitchell. We have a situation and an opportunity. Humanity's past and future just collided, and we have less than 24 hours to decide which path we'll take." The die was cast. The countdown had begun, and somewhere in the ancient chambers beneath Olympus Mons, humanity's forgotten legacy stirred to life, ready to reshape the galaxy once again. The United Nations Emergency Council chamber buzzed with tension as delegates from every nation watched Dr. Sarah Mitchell's transmission from Mars. The holographic display showed the Martian caverns discoveries alongside footage of the hegemony ships. As the presentation concluded, the chamber erupted into chaos. Admiral James Henderson of the United Space Fleet stood at the podium, his weathered face grave. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have 18 hours remaining to respond to the hegemony's ultimatum. Our deep space tracking stations have detected multiple large vessels entering the outer solar system. They're not waiting for our answer. What exactly are we dealing with here?" The Chinese representative leaned forward. "Dr. Mitchell's findings suggest our ancestors possess technology far beyond our current capabilities. Could we access it in time to matter?" Sarah's hologram nodded. "The console we've activated is part of something much larger. It's showing us locations throughout the solar system, installations, storage facilities, possibly even shipyards. They're all connected, waiting for some kind of activation sequence, which we don't know how to trigger," Admiral Henderson added grimly. "And even if we did, we have no guarantee these ancient systems still function. The hegemony ships are real and present. Their threats are not theoretical." The Indian representative stood, her voice steady. "The Sanskrit writings Dr. Mitchell discovered suggest our ancestors foresaw this moment. They wouldn't have left us defenseless. I move that we reject the hegemony's demands and focus all resources on accessing our heritage." "That's suicide," the European Union's delegate countered. "We cannot risk 8 billion lives on the hope that some ancient technology will save us. The hegemony offers stability, guidance." "Slavery," interrupted Dr. Thomas Okoro, Earth's leading quantum physicist. Until now, he had been quietly analyzing the data from Mars. "Look at their terms carefully. They don't just want to restrict our space exploration. The guidance they offer would limit everything from our technological development to our population growth. Within a few generations, we'd be nothing but a client species. In orbit above Earth, the situation was deteriorating. Captain Maya Patil of the defense platform Vigilant watched as her sensors tracked more hegemony ships entering the system. Their energy signatures dwarfed anything humanity had ever built. "Status report," she commanded, maintaining her composure despite the growing threat. 15 capital ships detected beyond Saturn's orbit, ma'am, her tactical officer reported. Their energy outputs suggest weapons that could crack a planet. Our defenses wouldn't last 5 minutes. Maya opened a secure channel to United Space Fleet Command. "Admiral Henderson, they're positioning for a full system blockade. Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it fast." Back on Mars, Marcus Chen had made a breakthrough. "Dr. Mitchell," he called out, his fingers flying over the ancient console's interface. "I've identified a pattern in the activation protocols. These aren't just coordinates. They're pieces of a key." Sarah rushed to his station, her eyes widening as she saw the displays. The installations aren't separate systems waiting to be activated individually. They're all part of one massive network. "Exactly," Marcus grinned. "And look at this. The activation sequence isn't based on technology. It's based on choice. The system is waiting for humanity to make a unified decision to claim our legacy." Sarah's mind raced with the implications. "Get me the Emergency Council now." As she explained Marcus's discovery to Earth's leaders, the hegemony made their own move. 3 of their ships descended into low Earth orbit, their massive forms casting shadows over major cities. Nexus Guide Varian's transmission reached every screen and communication device on Earth simultaneously. "People of Earth, we recognize this decision may be difficult for you. To help you understand the wisdom of accepting our guidance, we offer a demonstration." One of the ships fired a precise energy beam at the Atlantic Ocean. The water for 50 kilometers around the impact site instantly vaporized, creating a massive steam cloud that rose into the stratosphere. "That was approximately 1% of this vessel's primary weapon power," Varian continued smoothly. "You have 12 hours remaining. Choose wisely." The demonstration had an effect opposite to what the hegemony intended. Across Earth, people took to the streets not in panic, but in defiance. Social media exploded with messages of unity and resistance. #WakustaRise became the most shared hashtag in history. In the Emergency Council chamber, Admiral Henderson watched the global response with pride. "Well, ladies and gentlemen, I believe humanity has made its choice clear." The vote was unanimous. Sarah and Marcus received their orders. Activate the legacy network, whatever the consequences. "There's something else you should know," Sarah told the council as they prepared the activation sequence. "The console's data suggests our ancestors didn't just leave us weapons. They left us understanding, knowledge about who we were, why they went away, and what they believed we could become. Save it," Admiral Henderson said firmly. "First we survive. Then we can learn about our history." As Sarah and Marcus worked to initiate the activation sequence, the hegemony ships began moving into attack positions. Captain Patil and her crew on the Vigilant watched with growing tension as the alien vessels surrounded Earth. "Ma'am," her sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting energy spikes from Mars. Whatever they're doing down there, it's beginning to affect the entire solar system." Deep beneath Olympus Mons, the ancient chamber hummed with power. As Sarah input the final sequence, the console's surface erupted with light. Marcus's instruments went wild as energy readings shot off the scale. "It's not just this installation," he reported, his voice filled with awe. "Everything's awakening. All across the solar system. Mars, the Moon, the asteroid belt, even the gas giant moons. It's all coming online." Sarah felt a vibration through her boots as the chamber's walls began to shift and transform. "Get me Earth. They need to know." Her transmission was cut off as the chamber's transformation accelerated. The hegemony ships above Mars registered the massive energy spike and began charging their weapons. The legacy of humanity's forgotten past was awakening. But would it be enough to save their future? As the solar system trembled on the brink of war, that question hung in the void between worlds, waiting to be answered. The transformation began with Mars. Across the red planet's surface, ancient machinery stirred to life, emerging from millennia of slumber. The ground around Olympus Mons rippled like water as massive structures rose from hidden depths. In the chamber beneath the mountain, Sarah Mitchell and Marcus Chen watched in awe as their surroundings morphed into something beyond their wildest expectations. "It's a command center," Marcus breathed, as holographic displays bloomed around them. The entire mountain. It's all part of one massive installation. The cavern walls had become transparent, revealing a vast network of tunnels and chambers, filled with technology that defied comprehension. But more incredible was the view of what was happening outside. The Martian dust storms that had raged for eons were dissipating, controlled by weather manipulation systems that had just reactivated. "Look at these readings," Sarah called out, her fingers dancing across the newly formed control interfaces. Similar activations are occurring throughout the solar system. The Moon, Venus, the asteroid belt. Everything's changing. In lunar orbit, Captain Maya Patel and the crew of the Vigilant had front row seats to one of the most spectacular transformations. The Moon's surface cracked along previously invisible seams as massive structures emerged from within. What had appeared to be impact craters revealed themselves as disguised hangar doors, opening to release swarms of sleek vessels that moved with impossible grace. "Command, are you seeing this?" Maya's voice was steady despite her amazement. "We're counting hundreds of ships emerging from the Moon alone. Energy signatures suggest they're powered by. I don't even know how to classify this technology." Admiral Henderson's response crackled through the comm. "We're seeing similar emergences across the system. The asteroid belt is reorganizing itself. Those weren't random rocks, Captain. They were camouflaged shipyards and defense platforms. Our ancestors built a fortress system spanning the entire solar system. The hegemony forces didn't wait to see what else would emerge. Their ships opened fire, energy weapons powerful enough to shatter planets lancing toward the newly revealed installations. But their attacks never reached their targets. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around the legacy facilities. Energy beams that could vaporize continents were absorbed, redirected, or simply ceased to exist halfway to their destinations. The ancient defense systems responded with precise, measured counterattacks. Beams of coherent light, so focused they were nearly invisible, struck the hegemony vessels. Their supposedly impenetrable shields might as well have been tissue paper. On board the hegemony flagship, Nexus Guide Varian watched in horror as humanity's legacy revealed itself. "Impossible," they whispered, their membranes cycling through colors of distress. The precursor systems were supposed to be dormant, degraded beyond repair by time. "The humans," another hegemony commander hissed. "They're interfacing with the technology, controlling it. How? They're primitives, barely out of their gravity well." Deep in the Martian command center, Sarah had found the answer to that question. The holographic displays weren't just showing tactical information. They were revealing humanity's true history. "We didn't just inherit this technology," she announced to the Emergency Council, her voice filled with wonder. "We were its creators. The ancient empire the hegemony feared, it was human. Our ancestors built all of this. But why did they leave?" Marcus asked, scrolling through the historical data. "Why abandon such power, such advancement?" The answer unfolded before them in a series of historical records. The ancient human empire hadn't fallen or been defeated. They had chosen to step back, to give their civilization a chance to evolve naturally, without the burden of too much power too quickly. They knew that true advancement couldn't be handed down. Sarah read from the records. It had to be earned, discovered, struggled for. So they sealed away their technology, leaving only the defense systems to protect us until we were ready to reclaim our heritage. Throughout the solar system, the awakening continued. On Venus, atmospheric processors began the long work of transforming the hostile environment. Among Saturn's rings, massive construction facilities hummed to life. Pluto revealed itself to be not a dwarf planet at all, but an enormous monitoring station keeping watch over the system's outer boundaries. The hegemony fleet was in full retreat, their ships scattering before the power they had foolishly tried to suppress. But humanity's legacy systems made no attempt to pursue or destroy them. Instead, a message was broadcast across all frequencies, in all known languages of the galaxy. To all sentient species, the children of Earth have reclaimed their birthright. We do not seek conquest or domination. As our ancestors understood, true civilization cannot be imposed from without. It must grow from within. We extend an offer of peace and cooperation to all who would meet us as equals. But know this, humanity will never again be subjugated. The solar system is under our protection. In the Martian Command Center, Sarah and Marcus were beginning to understand the true scope of what they had awakened. The technology wasn't just defensive, it was transformative. The installations across the solar system weren't just military bases. They were the seeds of a new civilization, one that could help humanity reach its full potential. "Look at these blueprints," Marcus said, his eyes wide. "Terraforming systems, matter replicators, zero-point energy taps. Everything we need to build a true spacefaring civilization. But it's all designed to be implemented gradually, to let us learn and grow as we integrate each new advancement. Our ancestors were wise," Sarah replied, studying the historical records. "They understood that power without wisdom leads to destruction. They gave us the tools to defend ourselves, but also the chance to develop the maturity to use them responsibly." As the solar system continued its transformation, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet, living up to the legacy they had inherited. The technology of their ancestors could rebuild worlds, reshape reality, and reach for the stars. But the wisdom to use it well, that would have to come from their own hearts and minds. The awakening was complete. Humanity had reclaimed its birthright. But in many ways, their journey was just beginning. The hegemony's retreat had been a tactical feint. 3 days after humanity's legacy systems awakened, their true assault began. Thousands of ships emerged from hyperspace at the edges of the solar system, a force gathered from every corner of their domain. This wasn't just a punitive expedition. It was an extermination fleet. Admiral Henderson stood in the newly established Solar Defense Command, a facility that had emerged from beneath the lunar surface. Holographic displays showed the approaching armada in terrifying detail. "They're not taking any chances this time," Maya Patel observed from her new position as fleet coordinator. The Vigilant had been upgraded with legacy technology, transforming the modest defense platform into something far more formidable. "I'm counting over 3,000 capital ships, with at least twice that number in support vessels." "They're afraid," Sarah Mitchell said, looking up from her station, where she'd been studying the ancient command protocols. The historical records show that humanity's empire was the only civilization that ever successfully resisted hegemony control. "They can't afford to let us rise again." The defensive grid they'd inherited was impressive, but it had limitations. Many systems were still coming online, and humanity was learning to use them in real time. The hegemony, despite their technological inferiority, had thousands of years of combat experience. "We've got something they don't expect," Marcus Chen announced, rushing into the command center. He'd been working with a team of engineers to decode more of the legacy systems. The defense platforms aren't just separate installations. They're nodes in a quantum network. They can share energy, coordinate responses, even combine their capabilities in ways the hegemony has never seen. Before they could discuss this discovery further, the attack began. The hegemony fleet launched a simultaneous strike at multiple points across the system. Their energy weapons lit up space like artificial suns, while gravitational distortion devices attempted to tear apart the very fabric of reality around their targets. But humanity's legacy defenses responded with unprecedented coordination. The quantum network Marcus had discovered sprang into action. When the hegemony concentrated fire on one location, multiple defense platforms shared their shield strength. When they tried to overwhelm a single target, the entire network adapted and responded as one. "They're testing our capabilities," Admiral Henderson observed, watching the battle unfold. "This is just the first wave. We need to show them what we can really do, or they'll keep coming until something gets through." Sarah's hands flew across her control interface. "The legacy systems have offensive capabilities we haven't even tried yet. But using them requires direct neural interface. A human mind has to guide them." "What are the risks?" Henderson asked, already knowing he wouldn't like the answer. "Unknown. The systems were designed for humans, but we've evolved since they were created. The neural load could be significant." Maya stepped forward. "I'll do it. I'm already linked to the vigilance systems. I have the best chance of handling the interface." After a moment's hesitation, Henderson nodded. They had no choice. The hegemony's second wave was already moving into position, and this one looked even larger than the first. The neural interface process was surprisingly gentle. Maya felt her consciousness expand as she connected with the legacy network. Suddenly, she could sense every defense platform, every ship, every weapons system across the solar system. More than that, she could feel the intentionality built into the systems, the wisdom and restraint her ancestors had coded into their most powerful weapons. "Ready," she announced, her voice resonating with newfound power. "Initiating counterattack protocol." What followed would be remembered in galactic history as the Battle of Sol. Under Maya's guidance, the legacy systems revealed their true capabilities. Space itself became a weapon. Hegemony ships found themselves facing an enemy that could predict and counter their every move. Quantum-linked defense platforms combined their power to create effects that defied conventional physics. Entire squadrons of enemy ships were temporarily phased out of normal spacetime, returning moments later completely powered down. Others found themselves trapped in localized time dilation fields, their weapons firing in slow motion while the rest of the battle raged at normal speed. This isn't just advanced technology, Sarah realized, watching the data stream past. The legacy systems are teaching us even as we use them. They're showing us not just how to fight, but when not to fight. She was right. The defense network wasn't just mindlessly destroying enemy ships. It was surgically disabling them, neutralizing threats while minimizing loss of life. This wasn't vengeance or extermination. It was a demonstration of power tempered by wisdom. In the midst of the battle, Maya directed a portion of the network to broadcast a message directly into the command and control systems of the hegemony fleet. Not demands or threats, but data. Historical records showing humanity's previous encounters with the hegemony, the reasons for their withdrawal from galactic affairs, and most importantly, their hopes for the future. "We don't have to be enemies," the message concluded. "Our ancestors chose to step back from power not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. They understood that true civilization cannot be built on domination. We offer you the same choice they once faced. Continue this fight and be defeated, or help us build something better." The effect was immediate. Across the hegemony fleet, ships began powering down their weapons. Some commanders, seeing the futility of their attack and understanding the restraint humanity had shown, chose to withdraw. Others, moved by the vision of a different kind of galactic civilization, requested permission to stay and learn. As the battle wound down, Maya was carefully disconnected from the neural interface. She was exhausted but smiling. "They're retreating," she announced. "The main fleet is pulling back to the outer system." "Not just retreating," Sarah added, monitoring the communications channels. "Many of them are asking to open diplomatic dialogues." The hegemony's grip on their member species was already fragile. Seeing another way possible, she let the implications hang in the air. Admiral Henderson looked out at the starfield visible through the command center's windows. The legacy systems had proven themselves beyond any doubt. But more importantly, humanity had proven itself worthy of its inheritance. "Send word to Earth," he ordered. "The immediate threat is over. Now the real work begins." The solar system was secure, but the story was far from over. Humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars, but with that power came responsibility. Their ancestors had left them more than weapons and shields. They had left them a vision of what civilization could become. The question now was, what would they build with that legacy? 1 year after the Battle of Sol, Earth had changed beyond recognition. The legacy systems had begun their gradual transformation of human civilization, but not in the way anyone had expected. Instead of simply granting advanced technology, they provided understanding. The knowledge of how and why things worked, allowing humanity to develop and grow naturally. Sarah Mitchell stood in the new Galactic Exchange Center in Geneva, watching representatives from dozens of alien species interact with human scientists and diplomats. The massive structure, built with a blend of human innovation and legacy technology, symbolized Earth's new role in the galaxy. "Quite a change from last year," Marcus Chen remarked, joining her at the observation window. He'd spent the past months helping integrate legacy technology into Earth's existing infrastructure. "Remember when we were just two archaeologists poking around in Martian caves? Hard to believe it was only a year ago," Sarah replied, smiling as she watched a group of former hegemony scientists eagerly discussing quantum mechanics with human researchers. "How's the education program going?" "Better than expected. The legacy system's teaching protocols are incredible. They don't just dump information. They guide people to their own discoveries. We're advancing decades in months, but we're doing it through understanding, not just acquisition." The collapse of the hegemony had reshaped galactic politics. Without their oppressive influence, dozens of species had sought alliance with Earth, drawn by humanity's unique approach to technological advancement. The solar system had become a center of learning and innovation, but with a crucial difference from the old empire. Knowledge was shared, not hoarded. Maya Patel, now Admiral of Earth's growing space fleet, approached them with a holographic report hovering beside her. "The Venus terraforming project is ahead of schedule," she announced. "The legacy systems are teaching us things about planetary engineering that we never imagined. But more importantly, they're showing us how to do it sustainably, without damaging existing ecosystems." The transformation wasn't limited to Earth and its colonies. Throughout the solar system, the ancient installations continued to reveal new aspects of their purpose. The asteroid belt had become a vast manufacturing and research complex. Jupiter's moons hosted centers of cultural exchange and scientific discovery. Even distant Pluto had evolved from a monitoring station into a deep space exploration hub. Ambassador Chen's ship just returned from the Andromeda conference. Maya continued, pulling up another report. 17 more systems have requested membership in the Solar Concordat. The Solar Concordat, humanity's answer to the hegemony. But where the hegemony had ruled through force and restrictions, the Concordat was founded on principles of mutual growth and shared discovery. Member species retained their autonomy while gaining access to Earth's growing knowledge base and the wisdom contained within the legacy systems. Admiral Henderson, his hair now more gray than black, joined their conversation. "The legacy systems just unlocked another historical archive," he said, his voice thoughtful. "It explains more about why our ancestors chose to step back from their empire." Sarah had been studying these archives intensively. "They saw what happened to the hegemony," she explained, "how the acquisition of power without corresponding spiritual and philosophical growth led to stagnation. They wanted humanity to rediscover its potential naturally, to earn its place among the stars. And now we have other species looking to follow the same path," Marcus added. "The Concordat worlds aren't just adopting our technology. They're embracing the whole philosophy of guided development." In orbit above Earth, the Vigilant had become a training center for crews from dozens of worlds. Its legacy-enhanced systems helped beings from vastly different species learn to work together, understanding each other's perspectives and abilities. The ship that had once been a simple defense platform now symbolized the new era of cooperation. "We've got a situation developing in the Carina sector," Maya said, bringing up a tactical display. "A group of former hegemony hardliners trying to establish a new power base. They're threatening several developing civilizations." "And what do our new allies suggest?" Henderson asked, already knowing the answer. "They're looking to us for leadership," Maya replied. "Not because we have the most powerful ships, but because they trust us to handle it with wisdom." Sarah studied the tactical display, remembering the Battle of Saul and how the legacy systems had emphasized restraint even in victory. "We'll need to help those developing worlds protect themselves, teach them to use their own resources wisely. No direct intervention unless absolutely necessary." "Exactly what the legacy protocols suggest," Marcus agreed. "Guide, don't control. Teach, don't impose." As they discussed strategy, a new group of alien visitors entered the exchange center below. Children from a dozen different species, part of the first Galactic Youth Exchange program. They moved among the displays with natural curiosity, their differences forgotten in their shared excitement for discovery. "That's what it's all about," Sarah said softly. "Not the technology, not the power, but the opportunity to learn and grow together." The legacy systems had given humanity more than just advanced technology. They had provided a blueprint for a different kind of civilization. One based not on dominance and control, but on wisdom, cooperation, and shared discovery. Around them, Earth continued its transformation. The legacy systems worked their changes gradually, letting human society adapt and evolve naturally. Cities grew cleaner and more efficient, but retained their unique character. Technology advanced, but in harmony with nature and human needs. Space travel became commonplace, but with a deep respect for the environments and cultures encountered. In the depths of Mars, where it all began, the original command center had become a museum and research facility. New generations of scientists and explorers came there to study, to learn, and to remember the lesson their ancestors had left them. True power lies not in dominance, but in the wisdom to use knowledge responsibly. As night fell over Geneva, Sarah stood at the window of her office, looking up at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity's ancestors had built an empire spanning galaxies. But their greatest achievement wasn't the technology they created. It was the foresight to give their descendants the chance to grow into it naturally, to learn the wisdom needed to use it well. The legacy they had left wasn't just in the machines and installations scattered throughout the solar system. It was in the path they had shown. A way forward that balanced progress with wisdom, power with responsibility, individual growth with collective harmony. Humanity had reclaimed its birthright, but in doing so, they had discovered something far more valuable. A future worth building, not just for themselves, but for all sentient beings who shared their journey among the stars. The new dawn had truly begun.